In this lesson, we're going to build a little step. A few of them go along the side of the boiler. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the boiler, select left viewport, zoom in, Alt and Q to isolate it. Okay. What I'm going to do is make a little plane, F3. I'm going to drag it out right here. And I want it to be roughly 10. Let's make it a foot wide, 4 or 5 inches. Let's go 5. Okay, so now we have it created. I think we can go with 3 and 3. That looks good. Let's right click on the plane, convert to editable poly. There we go. Perspective, gonna have to move that out. It's always at the center of the boiler because that's where the origin is. Okay, there we go. Now we're gonna do same thing we did earlier. We're gonna use a conform brush. So freeform. If it's not already on surface, you want to click draw on surface. The boiler is still selected, otherwise you would click the pick button, and pick that boiler. Offset to 0.100, conform, 100 here and 100 here, which it is, and let's just paint that right there. And you see it's conforming to the surface. Click out of the conform brush. Okay. Now, edge selection, 1 and 2, Alt and R. I'm going to connect, Control Shift and E. There we go. And let's take each one of these loops, and I'm going to eye it up. We're going to just move them out towards the edge so that if we turbo smooth, which I think we may, we'll have a smooth transition. And let's do the top and bottom row of edges, or loop of edges, Alt and L. And let's chamfer. And let's just right click it and set the value by hand. That looks good to me, so okay. There we go. We have a nice little border around this whole object. And what we want to do is make like a small step kind of shape. So I'm going to select some polygons. Let's do that right there. Okay. And let's extrude them by local. Yeah, let's try local normal. That's way too far from the actual boiler. Let's go 6 inches. I'm not sure that's a step. It looks like a step to me, so I'm calling it a step. Say OK, and what we're going to do is bring that down just like that, so it's just about level. We can go Shift and B, that's my back viewport, which is technically the front of the train, and raise it up so it's level. It is. Let's go E for rotate. Let's rotate that front section, and R for scale. Let's just scale it. We're going to eye this and do it pretty quickly, just like that. P for perspective. We're going to go back, take a look. Okay, that looks good. What I want to do now is edge select, Alt R, those edges right there, connect tool. Let's try 2 segments, pinch them. I want to get them close to the front and back, so that, just like that, so that they don't deform too much. Probably want to do something right here too. Alt and R, connect. See, now I could have done Control Shift and E, but this value would have been used, and I want one edge. I'll just click that out. I want to slide it. Let's slide it down like that. Okay. Same thing here. Alt and R. Control Shift E now will work. It might be in the wrong spot, so you hit Shift and X for your edge constraints. Just push that up a little bit, just like that. Turn it off again so you don't forget. Shift and X, edge constraints off. And let's add a turbo smooth for now. 1, 2, 3, turbo smooth. Okay, and you can see that kind of has like a little step to it. But the problem is that the back here is not any depth to it. So what we're going to do is, let's go to border. That works. Alt and Q, let's isolate it and make sure. It's going to take a second. Alt and Q. Okay, that's not working. Oh, because we're already isolated. Sorry about that. P, Z. Let's do this again. Alt and Q. There we go. Turn off turbo smooth. Border. Let's grab that border. Let's shift it back. Just like that. F4. Turn on turbo smooth again. That looks good. Let's exit isolation. There we go. Pull that forward a little bit. And that looks pretty good. I think that is good actually. What we're going to do now, we'll go up toward the front here. We'll grab one of these bolts from earlier. I'm going to just shift it, use the manipulator tool, the little gizmo. We're going to shift it back as a copy, I'm going to go to pivot alignment, effect pivot only. We're going to center that. We no longer need it in the center of the boiler because we're going to just move this object. And let's take this, zoom in. That looks good. We're going to just shift it up a little bit, just like that. Let's make a second one right here. Okay. Let's rotate a little. Do the same to this. There we go. So we have this little step, and now what we'll do is, let's see, F3. We'll select these three parts, and if we need them in other areas, we can just shift and drag them to different spots on the body of the boiler. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure I'm on view, which I am with Move tool. Shift and drag this back, and I'd say right around here we need one. So I'm going to say OK. Zoom. Let's pull it out. There we go. And move it forward a little bit right there. And just a little thickness showing right there. That's good. And because it's based on a circle that's a similar diameter to this piece, it should work. You shouldn't have to worry about remaking another one just because this is kind of angled and different. Let's go to top viewport and make sure it looks okay. It does. So I'm fine with that. That's a step. Then we have two on this back section right here. I'm going to shift, drag this back. OK as a copy. Zoom in. And I'm going to push this back a little bit just like that. That looks good. And I'm going to drop one down a little bit lower, just from my reference that I looked at earlier. I'm going to pull this over this way. There we go. And bring it to the front. Zoom in. Okay, if we need to, let's hit E. We can rotate that, but not at local. Let's do view. Oops, sorry, let's try local. No, parent. There we go. Not a perfect rotate, but it worked. We can move these up. They didn't get affected by that. Again, I'm going on the fly. It's how I work. You know, if I make a mistake, and I often do, I just correct it. Effect pivot only. I'm going to center this to the object. There we go. And E for rotate. I'm going to rotate a little bit. There we go. Getting closer. That looks better. So there we have a couple steps along the side, and that looks like it matches my reference. So with that, I'm going to pause the video in a second. Let's save our file. Let's also left viewport, F3. Let's select these steps, just the steps, not the bolts. And we'll try something different we haven't done before. Tools, and there'll be rename objects. Shows up. The base name will be step. We'll make them numbered and rename them, and now we'll have, like in our list, we'll have step 1, 2, 3, and 4. So now they're named properly. Let's go back to perspective. F3. Okay, so in the next video, I'm going to make this little barrel that sits right here. It's I'm guessing some kind of steam release that'll connect to this pipe, and I'm going to make that and maybe some straps that hold it in place. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll continue there.